And again, back to my example of Liverpool, I'll tell you how we did it. But I'll take the example of the CCTV cameras. You probably know that in the city of Sydney itself, there's 106 public street cameras looking mainly at traffic. On average, as an individual, if you walk in the CBD, you're going to be captured 75 times a day. Of course, there are strict data usages for these cameras because you can see the face of people. So you can use them only in one case, oversimplifying it, when the bad guy is in the frame and the police is in the room. You know, see if the building managers know that. And from the citizens and residents' perspective, there's another issue, which is the Big Brother syndrome, of course. If you look at the cost of the investment that you have to make to have a CCTV camera in place, these are extrapolated from a study in the UK a couple of years ago. $20,000 per camera. If you start from scratch, you have to dig out and everything. And then every year, you're going to have to spend $5,000 per camera. That's a big investment. For what? My estimate is that you use only 2 to 5% of the information going through your cameras because you have to discard them after a couple of days. Only when the bad guy is in the frame and the police is in the room. Can we do better? Yes, we can. And that's where smart technology comes in. Sorry, you should have seen fantastic videos here, so you're going to have to believe me. We can't run them. So what everybody can do now in the world, even using freeware technology from the internet, you can recognize buses, trucks, bicycles, people, dogs, cats in cities. That's good. Now we can do better, and that's what we've done at Smart. We've developed an algorithm that not only recognizes things and beings, but track them in the frame. But they don't track the person, they track an ID. So when this person or this bus or this vehicle comes into the frame, we say, oh, that's car number 22. And then we follow the car up until it leaves the frame. And we know the trajectory of that car. What does it give us? Well, plenty. Remember your CCTV camera network that's there and you don't use? Retrofit your CCTV network in Liverpool. They've got 20 of them. With this system, and that's what you've got in Liverpool at the top. You've got a perfect description of your traffic patterns in your city in real time and tracking each individual vehicle without knowing what they are, who they are. Guess what? The technology itself can apply easily in buildings as well. If you've got a CCTV network in a shopping center, in an hospital, in a university building like ours at the bottom here, same applies. We were lucky for this trial. We had one of the cameras pointing at the staircase, and there was a fire trial. I was not responsible, and we were able to track all the individuals in the building going down the staircase. Exhibit number 4, system integration, and that's where probably it's a pointy head for you. That's our beautiful, smart infrastructure facility building at the University of Wollongong. I'm very proud director. 125 spaces, rooms, labs, you call them, so a space and pieces and sections of corridors. So we've got 175 sections, let's say. 30 labs, 3 workshops, and 1 industrial floor at the bottom of the building. We've got a SCADA system that is supposed to manage our ventilation system. I've got some grief about that one, but I won't dwell into it. And because we're researchers, because this is supposed to be the smart facility, well, we retrofitted our building with 125 smart sensors that record in real time 5 usual variables: temperature, humidity, light, motion, and the battery level of the battery in the sensor. So it's just a plug-and-play sensor. 125. I said, that's great. Let's go to the management, the facility management division of the university and show them what we've done and asking them to access the SCADA system to have all this new technology talking to it. Didn't go very well. For 2 reasons. First reason, very good one. The very serious building manager of the university said, you bunch of airy-fairy scientists, you will never touch my SCADA system ever. Fair point. The second one was more interesting. We showed him what we did, and we had 125 dials times 5 variables updated every 2 minutes. That's a lot of information. And he turned to us and he said, "What the hell do you want me to do with that? I have no idea." So we went back to the room, a bit disappointed, and said, well, how can we progress this research and convince them there's value in collaboration and value in having this smart technology talking to, if not overriding one day, the SCADA system? Well, one of my researchers said, well, let's build a virtual twin and a digital twin of the building. So that's what we did. And sorry, there were 2 other videos there, and you're going to have to believe me. So we built a virtual digital twin of the building with all the rooms, everything. And for each room, we manage, probably I might be able to point at it. So you can see these little cubes there. They've got different colors, blue, red. This is a visualization of all the sensing in the room, so the existing sensors, but also a virtual one about people counting, and I'll explain why. And also, more importantly, 3 virtual actuators, opening, closing doors, opening, closing windows, switching on and off the light. It's quite simple. But guess what? Now we've got 125 spaces in this digital twin building we can play with, and more importantly, that was the experiment I was going to show you, we can plug in the system physical sensors talking to the virtual building as it would talk to the physical building, the real one, and looking at what are the consequences of the different actions of the actuators based on a set of variables sent by the smart sensors. Basically, we can demonstrate now 2 things. That we can harness all this flow of information that up until now was total gibberish for the building manager, and at the same time we can demonstrate in the virtual world of our digital twin the consequences of harnessing all this smart information. And if I want to wrap up my story about social engagement, about integration, about interoperability, well, last week we ran a fantastic event called First 1M2M Hackathon in Australia. So we had 40 participants, mainly students, but some startups came as well to play the game. And there was more than 5 teams, sorry, there were 8 teams. 48 hours, and we gave them access to the digital twins. We gave them a set of physical actuators and sensors, and we said, okay, demonstrate something that these sensors and actuators could do for the building in the future. Guess what? The winning team in 48 hours were, with just a couple of sensors, I'm not saying it was a full-scale deployment, they were able to replicate what the SCADA system does. In 48 hours, students from the university only. More importantly, they use the 1M2M framework. It means that any kind of new sensor, 5G technology coming in, we're going to be able to connect to the system if it were to be implemented. That's the future. And this new generation understand the benefits of these sensors now, because they will be the next generation of engineers and building managers for some of them. I would have liked to finish on a positive note, and fortunately, I can't. Because there's a big issue that's facing all of us as a society. And we're creating, as I speak, we're creating it. It's the e-waste tsunami. So first, you remember the smart city has to be green, has to be environment friendly. It's some kind of inherent definition of a smart city. Rubbish. Total rubbish. There's no demonstration of that. What I can tell you is that we're creating the most crucial problem we're going to have to face in terms of waste management. 125 billion sources of electronic waste we're going to have to deal with. And we have no idea how you are going to deal with. We don't know. So some colleagues at UNSW, for example, start to work on these e-waste microfactories that will try to grab as much of the components as possible before sending mainly the PVC plates themselves to the tip, because we don't know what to do with PVC for the moment. This is a massive problem we will all have to face as a society very soon.